People don't want you to change. People get scared, nervous, and guilt trip you when you're getting ready to change, because anytime you change, it puts a demand on them to evaluate their life and change. And people resist change. So if you change, and that puts a spirit out there in the atmosphere that they have to look at themselves in the mirror and change because everything around them now is different, they get nervous, they get scared, they put a guilt trip on you to try to control you and stop you from changing, so that in their world, everything stays the same. Shame on them. They are a controlling, manipulative person, and you need to remove that relationship out of your life. There's been several times in my life where people have played psychological warfare to try to get me to stop changing. First was, when I graduated high school and I started to, get serious about working and building my career, a lot of my friends, and I won't say a lot, because I need to describe this as some, because if you don't say some, your mind is going to play tricks on you and act like you're going to throw yourself a pity party that the whole world is against you. The whole world is not against you. In fact, most people are positive and supportive. It's the 10% negative people that you focus on, and that's why you start to throw yourself a pity party. That's why people get cynical, because they focus on the 10%, the some people, but they don't focus on most people. Most people are good and decent and try to support you. But some people try to control and manipulate you. And so when I graduated high school, I started building my career. I started changing, meaning I started to change, spending a lot of my time partying and put a lot of that energy into working. And some of my friends, like subconsciously and like through some words that they would say, like sarcastically, would say, well, you're going to work, and try to like guilt trip me into that I'm working too much or taking things too serious, because it put a demand on them to get their life together. And they didn't want to get their life together. They wanted to hang out, smoke blunts, and do whatever all day long. And then when I started to get my spiritual life together, and I went on a serious journey to get spiritual enlightenment, a lot of my friends said, oh, you're joining a cult, you're doing this, you're joining a cult. Because they didn't want to they didn't want to go on their spiritual journey, okay? They wanted to blame their fucking parents, okay? They wanted to, say this and this and that. They didn't want to put in the work. They didn't want to change. They wanted to stay the same. And anytime you change, you put a demand on everyone around you that shit's about to change. And people don't like that, so they push back one way or another. Guilt trips, manipulation. And then, recently in my life, a couple years ago, when I sold my house I owned for 15 years and people started to find out that I was living in my car, I got a lot of people psychologically and through subliminal comments saying, oh, you're doing that? Why are you doing that? That don't seem right. That's not safe. That's not this and this and that. And so I thought it was this whole group of people looking down on me for doing it because it was odd. But it was just another example of change. And how people, because they get scared that you're about to do something different and new, and it makes them look at their life. It makes it look on the fact that they got a $250,000 mortgage. They could barely fucking pay the bills, and they're having another kid. So God forbid you start to downsize, you don't have any kids. Now they got to look at their own life. When they're fucking spending all their money at Target every week, and you're talking about selling and throwing everything out, and they're talking about putting on a renovation on their house, that makes them scared. And they don't want you to change. So even though they love you, they'll fucking play psychological warfare. They don't really love you. They don't know how to love you because they don't love themselves. And recently, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I started to I'm seriously considering buying a home base, buying an RV lot to put a small RV and have a home base. And now all of my nomad friends, not all, some of the nomad friends that I've met through this community, whether it's online, through YouTube, they have started to send me subliminal comments and messages with key phrases to try to control me, to stop me from doing it, because it puts a demand on them to change their evaluation. Well, maybe car living isn't for me. Oh no, he's going to stop? Now what do I do? And so they want to control me. They want me to play their game so that I can live their life for them. They don't want me to change because it puts a demand on them to change. I had one lady leave me a comment and say, oh, if you go back to, buying a home base, what about us? Where's all the hope for us? The hope is inside you for you to do the work of your own life. And you have to constantly change and evolve. Well, people don't like to hear that. People don't like change. People want change, but they don't want to put in the work for change. A guilt trip is manipulation, period. And anyone who guilt trips you, anyone who leaves sarcastic messages or subliminal messages to try to force their view on you is not your friend. They were hiding. They were sheep. They were wolves in sheep clothing. Okay, they were disguised as an angel, but they were darkness. They're not your friend. Very few people want you to change because very few people want to change themselves. And so if you're going to go forward in life, you better get comfortable with change, okay? You better get real comfortable with it. And most people aren't comfortable with it. But it's on all spectrums, okay? It's from when you build your career, from when you downsize, and from you upsize. There's always the people out there that want you to fit into their box that they have created for you. And the minute you don't, they get scared and they push their fears on you. They push their expectations on you. Shame on them. They should be building their own life. My circle says be you. It doesn't say be me. And I don't want to be you. I want to be me. Be you. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about now. But what I'm telling you is, you know what I'm saying. Some people don't want you to change. But rejoice when those people expose themselves, because now you know where the snakes are. When you cut the grass, the snakes show. Okay. Prune your tree constantly. Build your life. Change as often as you want. People got two options. You either get on board, get the hell away from me. Love and respect.